Thank you all for coming. Have food and eat and watch and listen. My name is Edwin Torres. This is Gryphon Rue and David Rothenberg. Our fourth poet, Lucia, had visa problems from Mexico. Yes, but we have her on recording, so she'll join us from the ether. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Alison. That was a beautiful panel before this. It shows you the power of poetry. It made me think of an intro here, which is, I feel poetry's connection to us as writers and us as humans is that its abstraction matches our complexity. The abstraction of poetry is somewhat of a mirror to our human complexity, and that's why it means so much, and that's why it can travel in so many directions. So having said that, what we're presenting is sort of an ongoing flow for the next few minutes. In a way, talking about our interspecies connections, but in reality just talking about what we need to connect to each other and go from there. So, thank you for coming. And we'll start with Lucia, and then me, and then, hold on.
Sopilotes entran por las pupilas. Un estanque con lentes oscuros. Un círculo guarda al centro inconsciente y sus alas proyectan la sombra de un mundo creado justo antes del futuro. Pájaros de fuego, monte mojado. Todo se eleva en el altar eléctrico del vuelo. Las sombras imprimen al aire. El que observa y renace. Víbora blanca abre el paso al recorrido cenital de la mente.
To locate your volume is to control your obstruction. Your investment inside a dialed-in babble is what allows your voice to be heard. To travel inside the spoken apparition is to experience a people turned in. To curve down and speak up. To sweat the body. To reignite the center, to make sense of what you got. The way to get past outrage is to decipher trauma and surgically underscore the minefield out of its fortune. To speak in a language you can't be heard in. To turn inward so we can sustain outward the shore's perception that the angle of the arriving wave perceives its center, its core to radiate from. To curve down and speak up. In the season of supremacy, dialing in from the margins is how the evolving feeling human sustains the movement to never land, but to evolve, to balance the world we move in with travels we can't see. To sweat the body. To land in motion in the season of the immigrant is to silently speak your edge. By diving below the outcome. The consequence of control is the form it takes. History lights a match and watches. more than what we are. Not seeing what makes us what we are in time. We move some centered, making some form of making. We always don't in, we always don't in, the always don't we are. Most accurately us in the more than make what we are. To make us more, to not need more than what we time. As I lose adjectives to form images, it is dependent on my seeing to achieve yours, to allow yours in. How to capture the core of what is time in mine. For the message to convey its own in yours. Where does accuracy count? For the message to know it meant something to itself, to center, to capture what is the accurate measure of a feeling. Is one way to invent a particle in mine. Out of its message in yours. To begin the making of who we are. By finding the message of who we are, we constantly invent in the form of the always that sees us, in the always that sees us, so we are. Invested in the seeing us as its own sight. What is not described but owned in yours. We are made of more than what we are. We are made of more than what we are. We are made of more than what we are. lined up to smell yours. I once had similar creatures, but I was a different tone. I once put strokes to stride, but I was a different sort of dog. I once had gills at the side of my testament, but I was a brilliant screamed. I once had scent as an available orifice, but it was someone else's skin I let fall. Someone else's ocean I let in. Someone else I could not imagine. I once wanted so badly to feel everything that I let go of my world, to let it happen. I once knew the travel of my sweat would unleash a tremor so far beyond my sight that I held on to perception beyond my skin to let it happen. I once needed affirmation's reminder with such feeble acuity that I let go of my sighs to let it happen. I once thought ferocity wanted me from ability with so many senses revolving that I smelled the spot and the scratch of my back to let it happen. I once allowed myself the walking through of an air so dense with temporal serenity that I held on to registers incomprehensible to acute attenuations of interlingual arousal to let it happen. I once telegraphed my tremor to the sacrum before the cortex with such badass delivery that I let go of a torment I'm only now understanding was deeply seated in my twin removal of seed and sift to let it happen. I once reasoned that balance was my light with such bearing of self that I transitioned into tension to let it happen. I once wanted so thoroughly to know whether I could attract the subtlest domains of sensory arousal that I stoned my hide. Entranced by delineation, the animal perceives and lets it happen. lesser to the greatest, lesser than. The echo regrading that, regrading that, regrading that. If there is a way I didn't know, can I know a new way? As if you're in the way, tell the story, tell the story. The archive of memory becomes a calling, a sound, a creature of hearing to fold chronology into an insect. To interweave my time with theirs, my time. To not be a history book, how to hear nature, present nature as the gift it is, be the gift it is, to show the world it is as yours. We, the relentless us, inside every morning, how to emerge, to capture layers, absorb the crown. Susurration of tall grass, susurration of tall grass, to write the voice of feel, the voice of feel. If I pay attention, I can write them. All my feels out there, I can write them. Waves of up there. Maybe I can write them. Do they want to be my write them? All my fields out there feel I. The stories before me. My sound, a measuring star. The image of the landscape I'm in. Mirror to non-existent I. Without mirror of landscape, I can't see I. How to invoke mirror I when world I speaks La materia solo existía en su esfuerzo por aparecer. La profeta eléctrica, el voltaje. Una libélula en solsticio. And my climate's mother. And my climate's mother's mother. And my mother's climate, and my other's mother's climb, and my father's climb, and my father's mother's mother, and my mother's father's brother, and my some other sister's mother, and my and my others my, and my others climb, and my ocean's mother, and my other ocean's mother, and my instant ocean's father, and my distant mother, and my mother's mother's mother, and my ever other father, and my father's distant cover, and my distant ocean's puddle, and my puddle's other mother, and my baby, my baby's ocean, my baby's other ocean, and my tongue, my tear, my toes, my father's mother's toes, my baby's little toes, and my earth's mother's toe, and my shore's golden toe, and my lower ocean's old, and my older river's woe, and my entered inner woe, and my river's ever soul, and my mother's ever soul. What is your ever about, your earth about? What is your soul about? What is your inner way to woe about? And why? To hurt. Why? And why? And my father's fall, your faster failure, and my sky's abundant soul, and my mother's ever never, and my planet's telemotion, and my tears, my ever ocean. What are your tears about? Your waters, what are your waters about? What are your ears about? Your earther's ear about here, did you? About here? How here about, you're about, what you're about is here. Your inner water's woe, your inner climber's toe, and my seven-layered ocean, and my civil after ocean, and my sizzling fulful, my brethren matra, earthen patra, seethering of my tittle, and my fathering of my heathen, and my chittling little others, and my etherin others, of my evil othering, and my everin mountain, seethering, and my noten, mouthering, and my face, and other watering of my heathen others resonant. What is your even about? What is your heaven about? Your other heaven even about? If other even ever falls, it never falls. Of my fall and my othering, my daedalin, my cumulative, my skyline, of my secret, and my chroma stay, my chroma hue stay, of my other hue sky stay, of my even other sky stay, of my para-terra sky, Mecca seeker sayer sky, and my say sky, stay sky, my sayer, my seeker, my sayer, of my home, of my home, water home, climber of my home, and my climb is my home. How climbing is our home, of my seers, of my sins, of my sorrows, of my earthen matra, authors of my others, of others, of others, and my uthras of authors, oaths, of my chandeliers, of my loves, of my oaths, of my shames, of Aro's woes, of my others, of others, and oceans, and rivers, of my imminent, eminent homes, of my imminent, eminent homes, of my This is a poem to the rhythm of life. This is a poem to the rhythm of life. This is the rhythm of a mineral life. This is the rhythm of a minimal life. I'm trying to settle to the rhythm of life. But all along, I'm on a minimal high. I set a level to the rhythm of life. But every minute is a minimal life. I wrote a poem to the rhythm of life. I found the words upon a liminal sky. When I was young, it was so easy to lie. But there's a man who says it better than I. Some ever said it was a civil society. So ever civil, is it ever the piety? My sense of pacifism is a reality. But feminism is a seminal masterpiece. Don't ever let me get ahead of my lie. Don't ever say I never told you the right. Don't ever bet on a believable lie. Don't ever say it was a minimal life. This is the rhythm of a minimal life. This is a poem to the minimal life. This is the rhythm of a minimal life. This is a poem to the rhythm of life. Hear the thought forming in the thought as a total shape. Was I first, or in my I first intelligence? God stepped outside, looked at a poet, and said, "Make me a world." sabakae. Opo, opo, opo. Evakatiri kato. To the shadow undone by the master of none, the runner, the runner, the run, the scissor, the paper, the pebble, the rebel, the scissor, the paper, the pebble, the rebel, the one in guise of the other, in guise of the one inside of the other. The one in guise of the other, in guise of the one inside of the other. The mother, the father, the one, la luna, la sola, la luya. The mother, the father, the one, la luna, la sola, la luya. To the river, I river impossible. To the mountain, I mountain my name. To the fire, I fire ascension. To the enter, I enter my frame. To the body, the brain, the spirit, the same, same. Seba saba, hueva kaba, hueva mavava, leva tavava, talega bakunga way. We're almost done. As we species into understanding, we species out of understanding, we experience with navigation a deeper sort of water, a chance to retrieve gathered between the un and its knowing, a memory between a decision, the arc re-scissors the pattern. Familiarity crosses the lingual. Elements enter porosity. Emotion that returns to a lingua, the shaved inherit, the wrecked arousal before mud beckons its bottom. A crescent moon, beneath applause, the only audience between the un and the expected. A softer sort of removal, effortless library. It is in distance where one's experience with navigation allows a deeper sort of fissure, a deeper sort. will shape this world. Emerge with me. Where fragment takes shape as the one between a third fragment, us. The pulse we percuss through as motion. How far from motion does distance emerge as earth unraveling? To the ones that call us, we are unseen until we are unheard. My edge, my motion, my distance, this world. This world. Let's shape between us. Emerge with me, my surface. Very Rothenberg, Gryphon Rue, Lucia Hinojosa. Thank you all. Oh, we have books and non-CDs for sale. The un-CD, it's a booklet without a CD in it, but it's cool. And it's a recording of David and I with cicadas, but also books, and that's my spiel. Thank you all.